What's going on, family? Listen, I'm super excited today. Today, you are about to meet an investor who has been able to make waves in Pennsylvania with mobile home investing. So I'm excited. So you definitely want to stay tuned and also learn about the lessons that she has learned in this business. Listen, we are bringing back our interview series where mobile home leaders interviewing investors who've been able to not only take the blueprint, but been able to help people get affordable housing and make money for themselves. So this episode, I'm very proud of again this young lady and what she's been able to do. And so without further ado, listen, skip all other stuff. I want to bring up one of the strongest mentees I've seen in a while coming to game. Literally just took the game, went 100 miles and running, and just made an impact in Pennsylvania. So if you from PA, you from Philly, right, or you from Pitt, wherever you from, man, you definitely East Coast in general, you definitely want to sit down, get your pen and pad out, because I'm telling you, you're gonna learn some gems. So without further ado, let me bring up Miss Apris Walker, y'all. Let me bring her up.
Hey, Byron.
What's up, Apris? How you doing? How you doing? Thank you so much for coming on here. And being willing to share your story and everything. And again, I think this is going to be a very dope episode for people to be able to not only just kind of get some gems, but just to see what's possible, investing in mobile homes.
Yes, absolutely. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for inviting me, and I'm excited for our conversation today.
Yes. Let's get it. So, Apris, what I would love to know, right, as we kind of get into this, take us back to the moment when you first thought that, like, all right, mobile home investing. Like, what was happening in your life that made you say, like, this is it? I want to try this.
Yes, absolutely. So that's a great question. So actually about 4 years ago, back in 2021, literally about 5:30 in the morning, God woke me up out my sleep, and literally I went to YouTube. Okay. And I just so happened to see you and your wife talking about mobile home investing. And, sometimes people say, listen, I need a sign. That was more than enough sign for me, because I don't wake up at 5:30 in the morning, so for me to just be awoken out of my sleep, I saw that interview. And at the time I was just looking for something different. And when I saw that, I'm like, wow, I thought untapped market, it fills a need, is helping people. This is something that I really need to get into. And once I'm like intrigued by something, I'm all in, I'm all on board. So I just took some action steps, at that time back in 2021. And, that's when I first got started. And if you want me to kind of expand upon that from my journey to 2021 until now, I will. But that was definitely that fire starter for me back then.
That's what's up. I love it. Shout out back in 2021. Well, again, where we after that pandemic, we like, yo, we all got to do something. All right. So that's cool. So did you have any type of background in real estate before that, or, any type of investing experience, or you were just completely just new to this?
Yeah, I was completely new, especially like mobile homes. Like, it's not something that even crossed my mind. So I was definitely a new investor.
Wow. Well, that's crazy. I mean, honestly, the way you was going, like, I know we're gonna get into that, but I'd have thought you literally like was doing some type of single family home or something. So that's what's up. So let me ask you this, right? When you first told your family, friends that you was going, start investing in mobile homes, like, what was some of their reaction?
Literally kind of like mine. They're like, well, they didn't even say mobile homes. They're like trailers, like that's in the trailer park. So everybody kind of goes like, and they're like, what, like in the trailer park? Like, how does that work? So everybody was just completely surprised, because like you said, we hear about single families and we hear about people kind of in that lane, but nobody had ever even thought about, because unfortunately people think like trailer trash, and there's so many negative connotations. And even people said, like, to me, you're not going to make no money in that, and different things like that. So it was definitely like a negative connotation. And I think just the miss or uneducation around it, a lot of people just couldn't connect the dots.
That's good. Let me ask you, did you have any, when you kind of first, did you have any reservations at first, like trailers? Like, did you have to look more into it, or was that like, I think this is something I can do?
I'm gonna tell you, listen, I feel like is whatever industry, whatever business you're doing, it's all about copying the right cat. So if other people are successful in it, I feel like I could take my previous skills, whether it comes from a different industry or space or whatever. But it's like, listen, you got people that's out here doing it, so I feel like I can do it too.
I like that. I like that. So let me ask you. I like how you say you was able to take some of your skills from a previous industry. What do you think some of those strengths, or if you don't mind sharing, kind of like the industry that was, and then transition it in, to mobile homes?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am also in financial services. So basically, and I've been a therapist before. So I have a few different things under my belt, but I think it all comes down to work ethic. Like people have big dreams, people want to accomplish a lot. People say that they're sick and tired of this and sick and tired of that. But it's just like if you want different, you got to be ready to do different, and a lot of people, they look at what people may post on Instagram or social media and they just see the glamour. But I always tell people, I don't care what you're doing, it's not going to be easy and it's going to be work. You just have to find what you are willing to passionately work for and just go full throttle. Nothing is falling out the sky, so it's just like you got to really put in the work. You got to have that heart power and just make it do what it do.
Man, that's a fact. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's real. I love it. I love it. And so that's cool. Like I said, having a background, like I said, financial services, being a therapist, that's a great recipe, right? So you understand you understand money for one, right? And you understand, and then to be
And
a
people.
therapist. Yes. Right. Like having understand patience with people, and that's cool. So let's talk about that first deal, right? So again, like I love it. Cool, transition from 2021 to educating yourself, the background, and so let's go to that first deal. How did you find it? Um, what did it cost, and what did you make from that?
Yeah, so awesome question. So back in 2021, like I said, I was in financial services, and at that time, I was just kind of like doing my research, but I'm like, listen, if I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna just go out there and do it. So this was actually like a no money type of strategy. I did pay for marketing. I ordered some bandit signs. I got a free text me number, and then put some gas in my car. And what I did was I looked up all of the and where I live at, there's no mobile home parks in my direct vicinity. So I was looking probably like at least 45 minutes, if not more, really like an hour or plus more. So I was just looking up mobile home parks near me. And then I was going out. I was taking my daughter, taking a friend, and we would just go out and start putting up bandit signs. And finally, a man called me and he basically said that, hey, I saw your sign. I want to, he had bought a property and he was building on it, but the property had a mobile home on it. So he needed that mobile home park. His timeline was actually gracious. So for me to be my first deal, he didn't really have a strict timeline, like 30 or 60 days. So I wasn't under pressure in that regard, but he said he needed it moved. So I told him, like, do you mind if I come out and take a look at the property? He actually had a lockbox on it because he wasn't living there. I went out, I took pictures, and then that's when I came back and kind of had that conversation with him, offering him a solution to his problem. So this deal was actually a wholesale deal. So I was not the end buyer. I was not putting out any money out of pocket. So I marketed the deal on Facebook Marketplace. And I had a few people who were interested, and a park owner reached out to me and said that she was interested in purchasing it. So she went out and saw it. She wanted to do it, so I had already sent the seller his contract. So I did have permission to get it under contract, go ahead and market the deal. And then she, she put in her offer. I accepted her offer. We did everything like that. And then off of that deal, my first deal, I made I think I made like $2,000 or $3,000 off of
Let's
it.
go.
Yeah,
Let's go.
literally for that deal, I could say I probably put in at most maybe like 3 hours of work, outside of me taking pictures and me putting out those bandit signs. Everything else kind of took place from the comfort of my own home.
Wow. Hold on. So $2,000, 3 hours. So you pretty much made like $667 an hour.
Yeah.
when you
Yep.
when you break it down like that.
And a lot of sweat equity. Because listen, I'm not gonna lie, I was sweating the whole time. I'm like, listen, I'm like, am I saying the right thing? Is he gonna let me put this home under
Yeah.
contract? You know, and just people being people, honestly, like he was kind of like a stickler for certain things, and they had already mapped out the property lines for they were going to be building. So the when they went to go move the home, they had knocked down some of the things that were up. The movers left like tire marks in the soil. So he was calling me really furious, you know. So it's just, again, navigating, dealing with people. But besides that sweat equity in those couple hours, I would say that, you know, the profit was definitely where it was at.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So you say he was calling, he was upset. So that's where that therapist part of you came through. Like, all right, let me get my man right. Let's go ahead and reel it right back in.
Yes, yeah. I had to talk him off the ledge, you know, for sure. And then I'm trying to like reach out to the people that moved that they had stopped responding. And eventually the seller, he stopped responding too, because he probably realized, like, listen, this is a small problem compared to me trying to get this big old mobile home off my land, which we accomplished that. So he eventually let it go as well.
That's good. So I like the fact you kind of well alluded to my next question, right? But I want to kind of dive deeper in there, right? Like you said that one of the things was, you know, like how, like, would somebody let me put this under contract? And I think that was like, I want to ask, like, what was your biggest fear in that first deal? And you pushed through, because by the numbers, like I said, $2,000, bandit signs, you know, connecting with a park manager, you pushed through it. But like, what was that biggest fear, and what helped you push through that?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the only thing a person can tell you is no. And we just got to realize that, like, yeah, you might get some no's, but the more no's you get, the closer it's bringing you to those yeses. And it's like, if I don't go out there and try, I'm never going to get this done. So as far as wholesaling, like, I knew I wasn't the end buyer. So the thing that made me the most nervous was like, listen, I'm marketing like I'm looking to purchase mobile homes. And it's like, okay, but I'm about to kind of tell him, you know, make up some reason why, hey, this is not really for us and things like that. But will you allow me to XYZ? So that was definitely the most nerve-wracking part. Another part that could have been nerve-wracking was like if the buyer and the seller were to meet, but I was just so thankful that there was a lockbox on the property, so that kind of took away that part of it. So I would say the part about getting it under contract and kind of reversing that conversation, like, I'm not gonna be the one buying it, but I can somebody that could bring you that money.
Yep. I love it, man. Listen, you just dropped a gem with the lockbox play. All right, a lot of people don't know. I mean, you know, like having that lockbox, especially in wholesaling, it's a big help.
Yes, it literally does, because you're like, I don't want these people to like kick me out the deal, or they start talking and things like that. So that, you know, kind of took care of that.
That's good. So I like that, right? So now again, I would think a different answer for this, but I still want to ask you this question, because, and I'm gonna tell you what I would thought your answer was, but let me see, what was the moment you realized, like, this stuff work? like this mobile home, this host, this work.
Yeah, I would say, listen, once, and honestly, because I think too, a lot of people kind of have that fear, that nervousness, like, are these people going to really send me this money? Somebody that they don't know, like, are they going to trust me? So, you know, just that whole thing. And I'm a person, honestly, like, I don't like to talk on things prematurely. I don't like to expose my hand prematurely. I need everything to be signed, sealed, and delivered, you know? So once they had met up to transfer the title and everybody went on their way, I'm like, wow, like, I really did this. Like, okay, this is dope. Like, I got the money in my account. Everybody got what they needed. Everybody was helped. I helped solve a problem. So that's when I really knew, like, yeah, like I can do this.
Yeah, let's go. I was gonna say, because I said the answer, I was like, maybe I know she gonna say when she probably got that check. But like you said, like once everybody met up and it was just like, yo, like, okay, like this happening. This is going down.
Yeah, I was calm then.
That's what's up. I love it. Man, so this is good. This is good because again, like the cool thing, like I said, shout out Apris being in the elite squad, and this is cool to kind of really, I see the deals when you drop them in the chat, right? You drop numbers, but we haven't been able to talk about this. So this is like me again as as the mentor in the group. It's like you feel like a proud uncle or something like that, proud cousin, like let's go, like just hearing that. Because I remember, like you said, before you even came, like, hey, I've done a deal. So what I want to talk about now, right, out of the deals you've done, because you've done several deals, right? Like I said, shout out Apris. Apris is one of I call them my superstars mentees that's literally just posting wins. I mean, every time I look up, he'd be like another win here. Like when you least expect it, Apris, she's working, but she's quiet. Like she said, she don't necessarily, and she just come out the blue like, yep, hey, y'all just closed on this joint. You were like, okay, I didn't even know you was doing that, working on that joint in the background. But yes, out of the deals that you've done, which one has taught you the most?
So that's a great question. And if you don't mind me asking, like just kind of rewinding a little bit, because I did that one deal in 2021. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, I had my financial services business. And at that time, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to 100% focus on this, right? So literally from 2021 to 2024, I did absolutely nothing in the mobile home space. And literally it was December 2024. And I somehow ended up on your mailing list. And that's when you were on that 10-day wholesale challenge. And again, I'm like, and I hadn't received the email in a while. So I was already thinking about it. So when I got that email from you, and one of my famous sayings is like, you got to stay ready so you don't have to get ready, right? So it's like when opportunities present themselves, it's like people want to be aligned, but it's like, are you like being available to that? So when I saw your email, I was like, you know what? This is an opportunity. It didn't come back around to me for no reason. So when I saw your email, I joined the challenge, and then I became a part of, the elite squad. So I got back into the business December of 2024. So I would say that honestly, so since I've been back in the business, I just closed on my fix and flip. I did have a wholesale deal, and then I currently have 2 deals under contract as well. And I would definitely say the fix and flip by far, was the most, the deal that taught me the most, to say the least.
Oh man, listen, I appreciate that. And shout out you for joining the challenge. That's why, again, when I'm telling y'all, like I said, superstar student, because that challenge, we actually, again, for Christmas, I was like, I'm gonna do something different. That was a free challenge that we did, 10 days. And you were one of the people that, again, not only took advantage of it, but you came out of there, like, took the information and was able to, like, get busy with it, right? And so I definitely want to just, shout you out for that, for taking that opportunity. Because sometimes, like you said, sometimes opportunities be in front of our face, but, we don't necessarily value the opportunity, but you valued that opportunity, took advantage of the opportunity. And then now, like you said, we about to go into it, but like you said, a wholesale deal, a fix and flip, like, again, getting busy. And now, we in end of September. That's great to come back. And, what I'm saying, like you said, since 2021, and then come back in it to now being able to do what you've been, being able to do. So talk about those numbers on that deal. I know we talked about it in the chat, but can you break down the numbers of that fix and flip?
Yes, absolutely. So, just employing different marketing strategies is more than one way, to skin the cat, putting out the bandit sign, putting up, ads on Facebook, joining groups, Craigslist. So this deal actually came from one of my Craigslist ads. And prior to this, there's like, and, we can go into depth with that, later in the conversation, but to get this deal, I had to go through so many other going out to see homes, talking to sellers, them not agreeing to what I was offering. So finally, when this gentleman reached out to me from Craigslist, he said, listen, I have a home, again, filling a need. His mom was sick and he had to go move in with his mom. And he was at this home for about 10 years. And he wanted to be able to sell it. So I gathered the information from him. I asked him what he was looking for the home. And he told me $5,000. And I said, okay, well, listen, send me some pictures. I'm going to take a look at it, and then we'll schedule a time for me to come out. So I saw the pictures, just thought about, like, the repair costs, the value of the home, what I could potentially sell it for. And I went back to him and I said, well, for XYZ reasons, we could offer you $3,500. So he said, he agreed to that. He said, okay, I'll take $3,500. So I'm like, finally, somebody is not turning red in the face because I $3,500. So I went out and saw the home. Everything was as the pictures described. I got him to sign a purchase agreement, and that was on March the 28th. I went out, and then we transferred title on April the 28th. Nice. So, I got initially, I had multiple contractors come out just so that I could get different bids and stuff like that. Some people ended up not returning my calls. And I had already written down that my budget for materials and labor was $8,500. So I had one contractor who did come out, and I didn't even tell him what my budget was, and he told me that he keep his offer, because I told him, I was like, listen, I have other contractors coming out, I'm gonna get back with you or whatever. And he finally called me back and said, well, I could do the project for $8,500. So nice. That's okay. This is what I wanted to spend anyway. So that was that, as far as that. But then to recoat the roof, that was like another extra $1,500. So all in all, I paid him $10,000. Fortunately, at the end of the project, I noticed some things weren't done correctly, and he had cut some corners, and I was like asking him to fix certain things, and he just sent me this text like, I've done enough, I'm done working on this. So I found somebody else. They came in, and to fix that was like another $2,000 or whatever. So at this point with contractors, I'm like $12,000 in. Yeah. One of the lessons, but again, where I live at, I know some places like North Carolina, South Carolina, they got places where the lot rent is $350.
Yeah.
So, I live in Eastern Pennsylvania. Western Pennsylvania is about 6 hours away. If I was to go do deals out there, I could probably find some lot rent for $400 or $500. But where I live, it is around between like $600 to $900. So the lot rent at this particular part was like $840, and that was very high. So that really cut into my budget, because I paid lot rent May, June, July, August, and September. So for 5 months, I was paying this. So basically almost like $4,000 in lot rent. So all in all, I think I told you, like, all in, between miscellaneous stuff, lot rent or whatever, I was like all in for about $22,000.
Okay. 20. Okay. Yeah. That's the thing about living in the metro, right? Like I said, we were living in Chicago, anything near Chicago was $750 or higher. Anything, especially again, New York and Philly and Miami, wherever you are, if you live closer to a metro, it's going to, because they know that people need to live there for jobs, so it's going to be higher. So I definitely understand that. You said that holding cost. So, boom, you did that. You all in 20, and I know you just sold this one. Talk about the challenges of how sometimes mobile home parks can block them blessings as well.
So I had the home listed for $44,000, and about 2 weeks after me listing it, I had somebody that was literally willing to pay cash. Her husband passed away. They wanted me to do a little bit of updates. Her husband had passed away. She was selling their house, so she had a surplus of money. The only problem was she spent most of her life as a homemaker and a housewife. So we know with mobile home parks that, it's not just you moving there. You own the home, but you're leasing the land. So you have to abide by their rules. So they had a credit score required. So, and because, I had already talked to them when I was moving in, and just to get clarity, it was a credit score requirement, background requirement, and then income requirement. So based on what she told me, those things were in line. But when they ran her credit, she didn't have any credit history. So they looked at that as something negative, and I asked them, well, is there anything that she can do, to be approved? I said, because she has cash in hand. There was like, no, there's nothing that they can do. So after her, and she was willing to pay, full asking price. After her, I had it on the market sometime. People, and again, this place was 75 minutes from my house. So it was like an hour and 15 minutes from where I was. I'm working, single mom of 2. So it was just like going back and forth, different things like that. And I was showing it to people. I think one person did get approved, but they ended up not following through. Then some people would tell me they was going to do the application. They never did it. So I end up dropping the price to $38,000 because I'm like, listen, time is money, right? And listen, I can keep it here, but that's going to take longer. And a lot of people also, they love the house, but they didn't like the lot rent. So it was just a lot of different things going on. And if you want me to talk about the final numbers and break that down or whatever, I can. But it's definitely like when you got to follow those park rules, it could definitely hinder you in some ways. Because some people, they might got the cash, but they don't have the other requirements, and vice versa, different things like that. Oh, and then also this park did not allow renting. And a lot of people were interested in a home, but they wanted to rent it.
Man, that's a whole nother YouTube episode about that nowadays, right? Yes. And so talk about what was it? So what did you end up selling it for?
Yes. So, so basically at this point, I said, okay, now enough is enough. I do not want to go into the winter with this house. I'm tired of riding back up here, and I just want it to be on to the next. And again, listen, God works in mysterious ways, because I remember this one day, this lady called me and she said, hey, I've been driving around in a mobile home park. She was a realtor. And she said, listen, I'm about to put up another home in this park. And I was wondering, do you want me to list your home as well? And I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Like, and I asked her, I was like, would you be the one showing the home? Like, would I have to come there? And I knew it was going to cut into my profit margin, but again, time is money. So I just wanted to be done. So at this point, I had it still up for $38,000. She said, listen, we're going to post it for $38,000. Within like 3 days, she called me and she had did some showings, and finally she had a buyer, literally like 3 days within her posting a home, her coming on board. And at the time, the home was still listed for about $38,000. And she came to me and she was like, I have a cash buyer, but they want to offer you $28,000. So I'm like, how did we go from 44?
Yeah.
So I said, well, ask her if she can do 30. She came back and she said, well, since she's going to have to buy the appliances and different things like that, she can only do 28. So I was like, listen, I'm ready to be done. Yeah. So I accepted the 28. Also, the realtor told me that I should offer a warranty to kind of put me as more advantageous than other homes. So that was like $450. The realtor was like $1,800 or something. So all in all, I believe they cut the check for $26,000. So on this deal, only made like about $4,000. And I say only very loosely, because I'm a type of person that I feel like sometimes the lessons are more valuable. I still did make some money. And the thing I learned about this deal is just going to allow me to create a 7-figure income in mobile homes. So yes, I'm worried about it, but I'm in this for the long haul. So it's like, I thought I was going to make $30,000 off this. You know, at first, before all of the time passed, I was only all in for like $18,000 or something, right? Before the lot rent start piling up. But like I said, again, it did crush my heart for 2.5 seconds. But I'm like, listen, I could walk away with this and I can apply everything I learned to every other deal, and it's okay.
Absolutely. Listen. Like, I mean, I think I was telling you, like, still, looking at like a 23% return, right? And, you look at the, S&P, like I think I was telling you look at the S&P 500, that's a 10% return, like, so right. It's still a win. And I'm glad, like you just said something key. You said, I'm in it for the long haul. Right. And so, I remember I used to have a coworker back in the day. He's always have a famous saying. He's like, listen, man, some days you're going to taste honey. Some days you're going to taste onions. So you got to be willing to, to roll with it. And so, honestly, being able to have the realtor to come in and help with that, because who knows, like you said, if you've been marketing things like that, it could have took even longer.
Yes.
So, and then you got all your money back. That's another way. You didn't take an L. You still like you got your profit was more than what you paid for the house, right? So
Yes.
a lot of that, like I said, a lot of that lot rent and things. And so you'll see, Apris, we're gonna start pushing this land play so that way we can have more control over these moves, right? But
yes, and it's funny that you say that, because I actually, the contract that I have under right now is a land deal with a mobile home, just so happened to be on it. I did decide not to buy it for myself right now, because when I first got it under contract, I hadn't sold that fix or flip, so I didn't think that it was wise for me to do that.
Yeah.
But now that I know it's possible, again, I know that other things is going to come my way. But a wholesale deal I have under contract right now is a mobile home on a half acre.
Let's go. Listen, if you listening to this and it's still available, we're gonna put that information, because I'm telling you, right? Like we got some time, because I want to make sure, I want to respect your time. We kind of go over some of them numbers, but okay, let me ask you this: what's the ARV? So that way they can hear that.
So for that, so it depends on. So this is another whatever. So in that area, the homes are going for about $350,000. Okay, about $350,000. But in the process, what I learned and doing my due diligence, calling the township, the mobile home that sits on it right now is completely unrepairable. Like it's just completely unrepairable. So as soon as that mobile home gets taken off of that lot, it becomes plant commercial too, and no longer residential.
Oh, okay. So y'all never mind, but I got you though. But listen though, hey, wait. Here's the thing: if you looking for a commercial business and things like that, and you need a nice little property or some land, come holler at your girl Apris. Man, I definitely understand. A lot of times, unfortunately, a lot of towns are doing that because of quote unquote what the mobile home does, but they don't realize is like still taxpayer. Right, you're still adding value to it, and it's going to appreciate if you put another, especially a newer home on there. So,
right.
To each his own, man. To each his own. So that's good. So let me ask you this though, kind of take a spin. What would you say your most profitable deal's been so far?
So I would say that well, it would definitely be my fix and flip, because the wholesale deal I closed on about a month and a half ago. I made $4,000 off of that one.
Nice.
Yep.
But then, but that one was pretty quick, right? Can you talk about that one?
Yep, that was quick. But I'm gonna tell you, it's like this business, every other business, is crock pot, right? You gotta have some things stirring up. You gotta keep in contact with these sellers. I don't care if they gotta know the first time, still keep in contact with them. This is another gentleman who found me from Craigslist, and he reached out and he said, "Listen, I'm trying to, I want to sell my home." His mom had passed. She left her home to him, so he was going to move there. So I was going to buy it from him, and I was either going to fix it and resell it, or I was just going to resell it, because again, he didn't really want a lot of money for his home as well. Did my due diligence, called the park, and I asked the same question 5 different times, because I know how people are. So I specifically asked them, like, do y'all allow rentals? No. Fine. Do y'all allow fix and flip? Oh, yes, that's no problem. We have people that do fix and flips all the time. I end up getting approved to live in the park, and they said, oh, well, we meant if you live here, fix it up, then flip it. So I said, okay. So mind you, it took them over a month to approve the application. So I finally get in touch with the guy, and I'm like, listen, they didn't approve me, but I can still help bring a buyer to the table. Yeah. And again, me and him had stayed in contact. Like, I was just helping him figure out some other things. So he agreed. I got him to sign off on the purchase agreement, and literally only had that one posted for 2 days. Yeah, so I had it under contract with him for $8,000. I listed it for $14,000. The gentleman came out, he looked at it, he offered $12,000. I agreed to it. And then I got my portion as a down payment, so from that, and then that was also some kinks, because it's like you really got to ask questions, due diligence, because every county is different and every mobile home park is different. So with this deal, I found out that even for mobile homes, you have to get a use and occupancy certification. So we had to have a heating person come out. We had to have an electrical guy come out.
Wow.
So different things. And before that got done, we couldn't transfer title. So he definitely, so he put the deposit down within like 4 days of me putting it up. It did take about 3 to 4 weeks for us to close on that deal. But in that process, I made $4,000 from that one as well.
Wow. Congrats on that one. Wow. Like, and I love the fact, like you said, every single county is different, right? I think that even when we first started, we didn't realize that every county we were going to, it was like same day, you know, same. And so I would hear stories from people like, no, we had to do this different. We had to do this when we first moved down to Florida. Like, it's sales tax on their houses, right? So, you know, we had to educate the buyer on the sales tax. So, no, that's good. You know, again, I mean, everything that you've been sharing, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this and just kind of seeing what I truly I'm listening to is things that could have went wrong, but you were still in a problem solving mode, right? Like you didn't necessarily, like a lot of this stuff. Sometimes some people could like, you know what, I'm not doing this, right? Like I'm not doing this. This is y'all can have these mobile homes. I thought and I don't think you came in with the mindset like, yo, this gonna be sweet. Like you already kind of knew like I gotta work.
Well, in my mindset was like, this has to work. So listen, I'm gonna be sweating. I might be pacing, might gotta cry a few times, but in my mind, like literally, it was like, this has to work. So, and every problem has a solution. So it's just more so about like, how are you going to maneuver and figure it out, not take your foot off the gas, and I'm not quitting.
Yes, absolutely. No, I love it. So I want to pivot now, right? Because I was listening and you said a few things when I think that as far as like scaling, right? And in Elite Squad, we talked about strategies, and a challenge, we talked about strategies and things. And I feel you got some sweet spots in your strategies. When you talked about Craigslist, Facebook, and it sounds like so far you've been able, and even Bandit Sign. So far. When you think about kind of like your systems, like any particular routines that you're doing, whether it's follow up and things like that to really help you to stay on top of things.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you just got to throw everything at the wall, because this last deal I got under contract, it came from mailers. So it's just like, we cannot be picky about success. And it's like, as long as the destination is what we want it to be, is like the routes kind of, you got to be very flexible with that. So it's like, for me, I felt like, and even now, because I'm still, I would say still in the beginning stages and things like that. So I'm just throwing everything at the wall, but I do have a calendar. I put everything in my calendar. I put follow-ups in my calendar. And there's also, I have an Excel sheet with different mobile home parks. I have them color coded by who's investor friendly, who's not, what's the park manager's name, have I talked to them, do they allow subleasing, or do they just allow fix and flips? And then I'm always just researching different things. Like I go on different park websites. One park, they had a whole resources tab. So now their resources tab is my resources tab. Like, they had given out movers, they had given out different insurance companies. So just putting that there. And it's also just checking like a marketplace every single day, putting on different filters, renewing my Craigslist ads every couple of days, just staying on top of that. So that my stuff can stay fresh, my stuff can stay relevant. But most importantly, it's just like making sure I'm doing something in my business each and every day. It's not a day that goes by that I'm not doing something in and for my business.
And I love that. I love it because the reason I'm happy you saying this, right? And again, if you watching this and you've been, sometimes some people just want to, stay comfortable with one thing, right? Like, I'm just going to be on Facebook and that's it. I'm just going to look and I'm going to go on Facebook. But like you say, you're throwing everything. And when you're new, you have to do those things. Like, I think a lot of times, sometimes I would say this nowadays, everybody wants the shortcuts, right? They don't want to do the quote unquote the dirty work. They don't want to do the grind. They want the short. I want to build. I want to just do this text campaign, or I want to spend this up front and think. And here's the thing: it's nothing wrong with that. But if you're in a position, even if you being real, like if you doing you paying per leads, or you running text campaigns and you running mailers, and you like it's lead generation. So what you're doing is you're going to multiple sources to source leads. Mm-hmm. So I definitely want to commend you for that. Like, I'm glad you said that, because you're not necessarily staying in one place and just being comfortable. You are doing multiple things. So the next thing, like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but what it sounds like, you're open not to just one strategy. You open to either flipping, wholesaling, or buying whole. Like, what, like, any particular, is it any focus, or you like, look, whatever deal come my way, I'll figure out the strategy?
Yeah, literally, whatever deal comes my way, I'm gonna figure out the strategy, because if I'm not in a position to fix and flip, this person still got to get their home sold. So why would I, pass it off to somebody else when I could just figure it out as well? So it's not one particular and I'm new to this. Like, I can't beg, how the beggars can't be choosers or whatever. So it's just like, if you want something to work, you got to figure it out. And how am I going to really grow my skill? And that's just like, in order to be like the master, the teacher, you got to go through the process. You got to go through the systems. And even later on, if I decide I want to focus on one thing, I want to still be able to say that I know how to do all of the things.
I love it. I love it. Honestly, in this economy, you got to be ready to do all of the things, right? because you got to be able to pivot, in a lot of these things, because sometimes, like some things, it's a different temperature. So then, for me, I want to, when I say this, for one, I definitely want to respect the time. I got like one or two more questions. I want to respect the time. But the thing for me, the next thing is, you said something earlier for me, and I had a question for you, but I'm like, I want to. So basically my question was, what was the goal for the next 12 months, right? But here's the thing. I don't want to ask you that, because you said something key. You said, I don't like to show my hand. So what I ask is, in the next 12 months, will you be willing to come back on the interview so we can talk about what that next 12 months looks like?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Listen, we're going to turn up. We're going to make it move and shake, do what it need to do, and whatever comes our way. And I know, listen, the momentum is just brewing, because I remember when I joined the challenge, that was back in December, but I didn't get that purchase agreement signed for my first deal until the end of March. But all of those months, though, I was doing something. I was putting in a work. And it's like, everybody want to live in a microwave society, thinking as soon as you put the microwave in a popcorn, it's going to pop, 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 pop. Right. No, I was literally doing something every day for 4 months, going out every weekend, putting up bandit signs in the rain, in the cold, like different things. And I feel like it's like compound interest, but compound work. You do the work on the front end, and over time, that's going to compound. So I'm super excited for the next 12 months, because I know everything that I've been, planting is going to definitely harvest.
I love it. I love it. So, man, I want to kind of like, this is something I think for the viewer, I want to be able to give them some value, right? So somebody watching this right now, they don't necessarily have a lot of capital. What would you tell them, that's listening right now about this business, or any advice in general?
Yeah, I think too, and you could tell them, the exact price, but it's like, you got to get around like-minded individuals. Usually, unfortunately, most go-getters, unless you get to a certain point, you might not initially be surrounded by other go-getters, but you got to be surrounded by people that's trying to go where you're trying to go. So join the elite squad, get mentorship, whether that's group mentorship, one-on-one mentorship, whatever you feel like you need to help you develop as a person and a business owner. That would be number one. But once you join the group, we can't be spectators. We got to get on the floor and play ball. It's like, you got to take action and make it do what it do. And if you don't have any money, the quickest way is to take the wholesale route, pay for your marketing, again, learn the skills, listen to the modules until you can build the capital. So I would get around like-minded people, get into the elite squad, get some group mentorship if one-on-one mentorship is not in your budget right now, and then do the wholesale route. Get your money up that way. Have a 12-month plan and say, listen, every 1 month or every 3 months, I want to make $3,000 to $5,000, and then at the end of the year, you can go use that money to do your first fix and flip.
Absolutely. No, that's good. That's good. So let me ask you this. What would you say is the biggest mindset shift that somebody needs to succeed in this business?
I would say the biggest mindset shift that people have is to stop their own limiting beliefs. A lot of the times it's going to be you versus you, and you just got to really lock in and get away from the scarcity mindset. A lot of people, whether they want to admit it or know it, they don't believe that they are worthy or deserving of success or to build a big business or to make a lot of money or to help a lot of people. So it's like you really got to work on you, because if you're not right, your business is not going to be right, or anything else around you is not going to be right. So if you really want to take this thing far and you want to do something, you got to stop the limiting beliefs, and you got to stop thinking that failure is like final. Failure is not final. Failure is lessons leading you to success.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Man, listen, Apris, this has been really dope. Like I said, I'm blessed that you took the time to, come and just have a conversation with me and really share your story, share your journey, and what you've been able to do. So I know you're gonna have some deals. If somebody wanted to connect with you or follow your journey, how can they connect with you?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Apris Walker. Also on Instagram, Apris Walker, APRIS, and that's my first name, last name Walker, WALKER.
Awesome, good stuff. So, man, any last minute message that you want to leave the viewers with about mobile home investing?
Yeah, I think mobile home investing, like you talked about it earlier, is like the economy. We gotta have multiple streams of income, and for people that's serious about generational wealth, being successful, we gotta have multiple streams of income. Mobile homes right now still untapped market. A lot of people aren't in it for one reason or another. So it's just about like stopping the fear, forgetting what people are saying, getting over that people are going to tell you no, and just really hop in and do it. If you're somebody that's been sitting on the sidelines, you're like, oh, that looks interesting, or I want to do that, but you haven't taken action, the time is now. Okay, the time is only going to start going, and we got to take action now. I've enjoyed the journey. Yes, it has been hard. Yes, I have sweated. Okay, yes, I thought I might have been going crazy a couple times, but I can already tell it is well worth it, and it is going to be well worth it. So lock in, get focused, join the elite squad, and get around some people that can help you win.
Let's go, Apris, man. Listen, I thank you so much. Again, like I said, for sharing your journey, dropping some gems, coming on here, just really, again, just sharing the real about your journey. And, we're looking forward to having you back in the future. Do me a favor, you watching this, drop in the comments, right, what questions you got for Apris, so that when we bring her back, again, that way we can ask more questions and we can definitely continue following her journey. Like she said, make sure you follow her at Apris Walker. You said, Facebook. And listen, man, I've been seeing it in real time. And so, again, I'm looking forward, especially, when we have you back, whether it's 6 months, 12 months, just continue doing super dope stuff. So listen, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. We truly appreciate you. Interview series is back. Make sure y'all subscribe, like, and share the channel. Making sure you following us on everything, Mobile Home Elite Investors. And listen, like Apris said, if you want to join that elite squad, the links are in the description. Man, listen, until next time, God bless. You already know. Let's get it.
Thanks, Byron.
No problem. See you soon.